Okay, sorry for the close-up. So someone asked me recently about how I tune snare drums, or tune my snare drums. I do not profess to be fantastic at this, but a few people have commented over the years about the sound of my drums, so thank you for that. I don't do anything particularly special, I don't think. The one thing that I do concentrate on, and the one thing that I actually found over actually only the last few years, that really does actually make a difference to both the sound and the feel of the drum is actually cranking the bottom head quite tightly. I've never cranked it. I'm generally very wary about cranking it too tight to the point where it pops. I have only ever done that on 2 drums, one of which wasn't even mine. It was a review drum, and then I had to go and buy another head. It's something that I found absolutely makes a difference, and I found that a few years ago when I had a the Sonar vintage kit, which I picked up after I had it to review actually after Jojo Mayer had played it on a gig. The way that was a 14x6.5, and the way that the snare drum was tuned on that kit, it just blew me away. And I think the main reason was because the bottom head was quite tight. This particular drum that I'm going to use for this demonstration is a DW 14x5 cast bell bronze. It's quite a lively drum, it's quite a bright drum, but it's because it's only a 14x5, I tend not to try and go too deep with it, so I'll probably end up with something along the lines of what I would determine as a sort of a relatively medium tensioning. Anyway, look, I've got the overhead going, so I will talk over what I'm doing. You can see what I'm doing, and then hopefully that'll be of some interest and some use to some of you. So thank you for watching, and here we go. So right, first of all, I've got the bottom. I'm just going to double check actually. I've got the bottom head all basically to finger tight. Now I will say actually sometimes what I do actually, if I'm doing a review, a proper review of something, I will actually get the drum dial. I couldn't remember what it's called, tension box drum dial, you know, it's the same thing. I will get one of those out to use on the top head, and but normally I'll use that only on the sort of the heads of the toms more than anything else. But for the snare drum, generally I still use just feel and sound. But sometimes I will use the drum dial just to do something with the top head, not the bottom head. But okay, so I'm just going to start off by giving, picking the lug and giving it sort of 4 or 5 turns, and then I'll do basically opposites to kind of roughly where it feels like it's equal under the key. As you'll see, I'm not massively precise on this, but it's just really a matter of feel more than anything else. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but I think getting the feel of the key, you know, on the drum is one thing, and then being able to actually say, you know, I can tune this drum so it feels all right and sounds all right is completely another thing. So I'm just going to check that, see how that goes. I don't actually always use a stick underneath this underneath the wires, but in this instance I will, just for the sake of making it easier. So I'm just going to go basically around and check the head tensioning under each lug, and I just use basically the edge of the drum key about 1 inch in from the hoop. and that sounds fairly even to me at the moment. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to basically tighten up a little bit more, maybe another turn or two. And again, it's just really just using the actual feel of the drum. So more than anything else, so I only did that one up one. And if you haven't already realised, I've pretty much lost track of where I started. I know I've got my finger on that lug, but it doesn't matter. Right, so I'll try that again. Right, so that sounds okay to me, and in terms of feel, that's now quite tight. It's not up to the rim or anything. It might, I mean, it might look like, well, possibly not from the overhead, but I'm going to give that a go as is, and then flip the drum over, and basically now I'm going to effectively do the same thing with the top head. So these are all finger tight pretty much. Just double check. Yeah, right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pick a lug and say do sort of 3.5 turns there, 3.5, 4. But now see that one, these two I only did a little bit because they didn't feel like they needed to go all the way. Where am I? That one, isn't it? And as I said before, it's kind of all about resistance under the key for me rather than anything else. So let's just double check that. Maybe loosen that one off a little bit. Right, and see how that sounds, whilst also hitting the ride cymbal. And apart from being the wires being a little loose for my liking, now they're a little bit too tight. I'll kind of leave that there. So that's more or less what I do to tune a snare drum. Thanks for watching. Hope that was of some interest.